Welcome to 1991 Movie Rewind, a podcast where we watch and review every movie released in 1991. From the all-time greatest classics to the critically panned and everything in between. We will rediscover forgotten fan favorites and uncover hidden gems as we explore the depths of direct-to-video. Join us in our celebration of the fun, unique, and diverse films of this highly underrated year. This week, we watched Dutch. In Dutch, Doyle Standish, played by Ethan Embry, was planning to come home from boarding school to see his dad for Thanksgiving. When his dad cancels due to a business trip, Doyle's mom's new boyfriend, Dutch Dooley, played by Ed O'Neill, offers to go down to Atlanta and drive them both back to Chicago. After a violent introduction to each other that sees Dutch beat up by the snobby Doyle, they hit the road for an adventure with unintended pit stops. Screenplay by John Hughes, directed by Peter Faiman, and released on July 19th, 1991. Have you seen Dutch before?
Yes, I have.
I have not.
Okay.
I knew of it. I think the main reason we didn't watch it in our house is because Ed O'Neill's in it.
Oh.
And my mom was very much against the Married with Children type shows of the world. Like Beavis and Butthead and Married with Children, those were shows that should not be watched, were not allowed to be watched in the house.
Why? Because they were just...
crude and crass and whatever. I don't know.
I'm just like... I'm very glad that I grew up watching whatever I wanted to watch.
I mean, I snuck a few episodes of Beavis and Butthead in. But Married with Children never really interested me too much as a kid either.
I watched it when I was older because of Christina Applegate.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen a full episode of it. I've seen scenes, but I don't think I've ever seen a full episode of Married with Children. Back when I was a kid,
I liked it.
It just seemed like it was going to be, I don't know, gross out for the sake of being gross out, you know, like with the hand down the pants type of stuff, and, you know, just like crude just for the sake of being crude.
Like burping and farting and stuff, but it wasn't really.
I'm sure it wasn't, but like that was you know, 10-year-old
like
me's impression
how
of
it was portrayed.
Yeah, and like, oh, that doesn't seem that interesting, so like I don't care. But like Beavis and Butthead had a different mystique to it, you know, it was animated, it was the music video aspect of it too, and them just like riffing on that, which I thought was funny in and of itself, of course, and some of the best parts of that show was the music video stuff. But so I think she sort of saw Ed O'Neill and is like, okay, well, this is going to be the same type of character, and so we probably never watch it because of that whole thing. It's like, oh, well, he's that guy, he's Al Bundy, I don't want to see Al Bundy.
I mean, there are a couple scenes where he does, like, crude things, but it's not, like, over the top.
You're talking about in this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say that this is perfectly cast.
Yeah, because I did see how many people that they wanted for this role.
Yeah.
And I think he did a good job.
He did a great job with this. I think it's a perfect extension of that type of a character, so sort of playing off of what you probably would know of an Al Bundy, and then
like
giving it some additional heart.
Yeah, the only other person that I can think of that would probably be able to do this role is like Dennis Leary.
Okay, yeah.
But I know he wasn't even considered for this, but I was thinking like it's kind of like Dennis Leary could also do this, I think.
I think so, yeah. I don't know how much he was trying to act back then.
Yeah, I don't know just, like, when Dennis Leary became... when did he become...
Like, he had done a couple movies in the 90s.
Like, I know, like The Ref is when... That's, like...
Yeah, that's, like, 95-ish, maybe?
So I think that's when...
And then there's that holiday movie, something about, like, some Christmas movie that he's in. as well, and then obviously rescue me later than that. But
right, but like before that, I don't know why we're going on a Dennis Leary tangent, but I remember just seeing him on MTV as being like the asshole guy.
yeah,
And that's where he started. But when was it? This has to be after 91. So like maybe 93 is when he started to become like well.
that might have been his heyday. Yeah. I don't think he would have been.
But I'm just like, if they did this movie again, maybe if they did it like 10 years later, I would see Dennis Leary doing it. But
yeah,
whatever.
But I'm glad Ed O'Neill got the part.
Yeah.
I think he was perfect for this role. I think he knows how to bring that mix of. I kind of want to say toughness, but like it's not really. Like you can always see the soft interior of him.
Okay, this movie also I'm a working class guy. I'm a hard ass, but I also have like a heart of gold type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's a big part of what Ed O'Neill brings to this character is that he provides that tough love that Doyle has never seen. He gives back. He in the opening scene, like not really opening scene, but the opening scene where they meet each other, and Doyle essentially thinks that Dutch is an intruder into his boarding room because Dutch is just there rifling through his stuff, just kind of snooping around and looking while Doyle was off doing like karate practice in the gym alone because he has no friends at this school because everyone hates him because he's a stuck-up little shit. And so he comes back to his room and sees this grown man that he's never seen before.
Right.
And so, he uses his karate skills or whatever and like just beats the crap out of him and like kicks him in the nuts and whatever, and then pulls out what turns out to be a BB gun but looks or air gun.
It looks like a real gun.
But it looks like a real gun because they didn't have those rules back then.
Right. I was like, they wouldn't do this now.
Yeah, now they don't have those yeah, back then toy guns looked like real guns on purpose.
Yeah.
And so it was a BB gun and shot Dutch a couple times
in the groin. Yeah.
And Dutch says, "Yeah, I'm going to get you back. Like I'm going to shoot you in the butt because it's not going to hurt as bad, but I'm going to get you back." And he eventually, gets basically bound and gagged and carried out on a hockey stick with all of his belongings into the car.
I mean, this is kind of like problematic. You could have just been like, yeah, this dude could have gotten arrested for like kidnapping.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff that
and the way he goes about like gagging him and throwing him in the back seat, like you honestly cannot do that to a child now.
No, you couldn't then either.
I mean, yeah, but everyone's
but for the
like
sake of comedy,
laughing, like, oh, he finally got this shitty little stuck-up kid to shut up by doing this.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it shows that he's not afraid to
like stand up to a child.
Exactly. Yeah, he's willing to dish it as well as take it. So, I was honestly surprised that there were not scenes where Doyle tried to get Dutch arrested for abduction or whatever, or just simply ran away from the car at like one of the gas station stops that they had. Yeah, that's
what I was kind of I thought that would have happened because I would have done that if I was a kid.
Yeah, especially at the very first. This is a guy who says he knows your mom. Right?
Yeah, how do I know
don't know
that?
For sure.
Yeah, how do I know that you know my mom?
And the first stop in Tennessee that they show, I mean, they're coming from Georgia, but they stop in Tennessee first in terms of the movie. They stop at this place that's a gas station / fireworks shop. Perfect combination. And he just leaves him in the car and he goes out and buys a whole bunch of fireworks. Yeah, he could have ran off
and been like, hey, I've been kidnapped by some rando guy.
Yeah. Doyle could have told the gas station attendant or whatever.
Or flag someone else down. Yeah, call 911, whatever. Or he could have just used a payphone or anything. I don't know.
Yeah. But that doesn't happen, and I understand why it doesn't happen, but it's one of those weird things where it seems like a natural bit of conflict that they could have thrown in there, and they just don't. But really what the main conflict is a class struggle.
Yeah.
You have the Standish family is extremely wealthy. The dad does something. I don't know if they explain what he does, do they?
There was a point where when they were driving back up to Chicago, they showed a construction company and they showed a sign.
That's the big reveal for Dutch. I'm saying the dad,
like
Christopher McDonald's character. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like family wealthy.
Yeah, it's
from
some sort
this
of
WASP family.
Massive white collar, probably like stock bond trading, whatever. Who knows?
Yeah, they don't even say.
But extremely wealthy. The mom has been divorced from him.
Well,
because the dad's just a total shitbag, and so everyone is upset with her. Because,
like it's her fault that they divorced.
Yeah, because you always trust the man with the money.
Right, and Doyle is even mad at his own mom for divorcing his dad.
Yeah.
Everyone's mad at the mom.
Everyone's mad at the mom for trying to be happy.
But
instead of just taking the money.
Even though the dad is the one that's like cheating on her or whatever.
And he's a total typical deadbeat dad. Like the first scene when they're in the country club thing, it's, Reed is the name of the dad.
Mm-hmm.
He's, the typical deadbeat. He's using his money and power over her, over Natalie. And basically saying, oh yeah, I'm not going to be able to get Doyle from school and have him be with Thanksgiving because I have this unexpected trip in London, and you're going to speak with him anyway, so why don't you tell him? So I don't even have to...
you can't even speak to your own child and
right.
say, hey, I can't see you because this and this and this.
I'm going to make you the villain and be the bearer of bad news.
Yeah.
And if you don't do what I say, I'm going to take away the house, I'm going to take away the money, whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, in the beginning, they're at this ritzy party for I don't even know what, and I don't know why she was even there.
Yeah, I don't remember if she said why she's there. But yeah, I think the main reason movie-wise that they're there is to show the contrast and show that Natalie is not like them, that they have a lot of disdain, and then also to introduce Dutch. As this uncouth, low-class guy who even the dogs don't like because they're biting at his ankles, and he gets locked out of the house. So look at how stupid and poor he is.
It's like Ace Ventura level where he goes to that party with Courtney Cox.
Yeah. And he still has like the leaves on his coat from where the dog, got him into the bushes or whatever. And like, oh my gosh, look at how unmanageable and how.
But Natalie even says like this off the wall comment, like, yeah, Reed knocked me up when I was young and we got married and then he cheated on me and here we are type of thing.
Yeah, because the friends at the party are basically
they're just trying to be
make
nice,
small talk
I guess.
Or whatever. It's like, why didn't you, we really like Reed. Why didn't you stay with Reed or something like that?
Yeah, and she's like, well, like, she just says that. Like, we were really young, he knocked me up, we got married, and he became a dick, and now we're not married.
Yeah.
In, like, one long breath. And they're just like, oh, okay.
And then they roll up their eyes and whatnot.
Yeah.
So... yeah, so it's all about class difference, and Doyle very much buys into this whole thing and thinks he's better than everyone because his family has money. His dad is powerful because of the money. And so he is equally powerful and important. And so that's one of the main things that they get into. But what I really like about the movie is that it doesn't do it a whole lot verbally. So there's a very early scene when they're in the car together. And Doyle obviously is like sticking his nose up at Dutch and, makes this, comment, oh, well, but you're working class, so you're, without saying you're beneath me, implying you're beneath me because you're working class. Mm-hmm. And Dutch just simply responds like, and working class is bad? Working class is
He's
bad.
like, I'm proud to be of a working class. Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, and so he explains it a little bit, but then the rest of the movie, aside from that, isn't using words. It's using just actions and moments to show.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about money. It's not about what class you're in, quote unquote. It's about what you do as a human. And so, like, the rest of the movie is just him showing through actions and not words, but, you know, like, all these different scenarios that they come
Doyle
across.
has been brought up
why
mostly
he's better.
By his father, I guess, just to be like, rich people are better.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah. The ones that have the money and the power are going to be the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
everything they do
how
is right.
Doyle is being raised, unfortunately.
Yeah. And so, yeah, the Dutch is able to show that to him through these various different scenarios and some of the tough love and be like, look, there's more than one way to live. And here's a respectable way. And then the kicker to that, obviously, is what you were saying before, where near at the end of the movie, well, I think one of the things that they did say is Doyle thinks that Dutch is only with the mom for the money.
Mm-hmm.
And Dutch says, no, what your dad gives your mom is less than what I make.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not it, kid. You know? And so that kind of gets the head turning a little bit. And then at the end, you see that construction sign where it says Dutch Dooley Construction. You see that he actually does own his own construction company.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that's never verbally said. And if you happen to be looking away and miss that sign,
you wouldn't.
Then you miss that whole thing. The movie still works without it, but, you know, seeing that sign is like, yeah, this is just this guy being very humble about where he's coming from and appreciating what he has.
Yeah, he doesn't really say it, but it's like he does talk about how, you know, my mom, I forgot, you know, like my mom worked in a laundromat or something. I don't even remember that.
Yeah, very blue collar jobs for both of his parents.
And my dad did this, which I forgot already.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like he doesn't say, hey, I started from the bottom and now I own my own company.
Right. He completely, purposely omits that.
Yeah, he doesn't
hides his money from Doyle whenever possible. But I think also him owning that construction company helps with one of the later scenes where he helps the family in the homeless shelter as well. So at one point, there's a lot of stuff that happens that gets them to this point, but basically they lose their car, they lose their money, they lose their wallet through various circumstances, scenes we can talk about as we go. But they end up in a homeless shelter, and the mom and the dad give them a ride to Chicago for the last leg of the trip. And as they're getting out of the car, Dutch basically says, yeah, let me talk to my guys, and we'll see what we can do about getting you a job. Mm-hmm. Just call the office on Monday, we'll see what we can do for you.
Yeah.
You know. So that type of stuff. And I'm glad that they had that type of conversation in there, because I mean, I don't know, we didn't see the conversations between Dutch and the homeless family at all.
No, it was mostly Doyle interacting with their kid
and the mom, having like a nice heart-to-heart with the mom.
Yeah, because she was like, we've been living in our car for however many days or weeks or whatever.
And I think it's also really important to have that scene because it also shows Doyle, you can have everything handed to you, but sometimes things just don't go your way, right? Like this homeless family is homeless not because of any fault of their own, it's because of other circumstances that were put upon to them. And I think that's the first time he ever actually gets to see that side of life too, because he's been extremely sheltered, you know, in this whole thing. So he gets to finally see, oh, yeah, you were doing everything right. Like, you know, the company just laid you off, and then this other thing happened, and then this other thing happened, and, you know, none of that was an active decision. Mm-hmm. So he gets to see that, and I think it's really good that this movie has these real moments and these actual conversations mixed in with the physical comedy, mixed in with, like, the pratfalls and the juvenile humor. And, you know, the wacky fight scenes and stuff like that. It's a mix that could go horribly wrong, but I think works really well. What doesn't work well for me is the music.
Yeah, I didn't. The music was pissing me off.
Alan Silvestri did the score. I actually didn't really write any of his credits down. He's done so much stuff. I mean, he's...
Well, I was like, has he... Well, you haven't wrote his credits down, because I know there are other movies in 1991 where I'm like, oh, I hate the score.
It's not this score is not like one of the Newmans where it just sounds like everything else. This is like weird ass circus music over the fireworks scene.
Yeah,
I don't know if the music...
hate that. I don't know, I hate that.
And it's a very long sequence too. So yeah,
I don't even know what music you would play over it, but not circus music, please.
Not circus music. And then, I don't know, was this score or was this one of those songs by Yellow with like the racy playing cards? Yeah, like
that song I like the soundtrack. But it doesn't. Fine.
I don't know. It's still like when it comes on.
The song is called Desire because I looked it up.
Desire was a different one though. Desire was when they're in the car.
Okay.
But when he's looking at the nudie playing cards, it's I remember it from the trailer.
Yeah.
So whatever song is in the trailer of the movie, that's
with the horn sound.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a different Yellow song, or if because there are more than one Yellow song.
Yeah.
In the movie, or if that's part of the score. But either way, it's like, it's comical, and I think it's intended to be comical, but I'm laughing at it more than with it. Yeah,
whatever the score was used throughout the movie made me really mad.
Yeah, it's a downside. Yeah,
but the the Yellow songs that I did hear, except for maybe the one that you're talking about, yeah. I like.
Yeah, the songs aren't bad on their own, except for the circus music, but put into the context of the scenes, it's usually not working very well. But I mean, you have, again, Ed O'Neill, Dutch, trying to break Doyle out of his shell, and so he gets all these fireworks, and there's this really long sequence of him pulled over on the side of the road, just lighting off fireworks by himself while Doyle is in the car rolling his eyes at this grown man,
just like,
goofing around.
Yeah, he's like, this is stupid.
And like trying to pretend like he's not having fun and trying to hide his emotions, which is a recurring theme for a little while. Mm-hmm. And Dutch is over there like pretending to like shoot fireworks out of his butt and like pretending like it's a wiener and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean that's like, funny. Yeah. But don't play like do 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 like while he's doing it. That was making me. I was like, I had mixed emotions. Like I was laughing at what Ed O'Neill was doing, but I was angry that the music was playing.
Yep. So, but like I said, we got the mix of like the slapstick type stuff, and you got the serious moments sort of sprinkled in there. And one of the things he buys with the fireworks is this deck of racy playing cards.
Right, and then he shows Doyle, he does some random magic trick where it's like only shows the top part of a naked woman.
Mm-hmm. And you see his like eyes get all wide.
Right.
But yeah, and then there's a later scene where
he does it himself.
Where he does it himself, and he thinks that Dutch is sleeping, but he's not, and so yeah, sneaking a peek because he's a little horny little kid.
Well, because he's like a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Or 12 or 13, whatever.
But yeah, there's a couple different scenes where just stuff happens. I also really like that the movie, again, is nonverbal, not only in the fact that they're just showing you the differences between the class, but also it's literally nonverbal. There's a lot of silent movie type moments in this movie where a lot of non-talking battles, like when they're playing with like the music volumes and the seats and the windows in the car, and a lot of the stuff that happens at nighttime and whatever. Just I
don't even know why that scene. Well, I understand why, but it's just like out of the blue, Dutch is like, I'm just gonna turn this music and volume up loud just to be a dick.
Yeah, it could be. At first, I
'Cause
thought
they're
it was
just
kind of
sitting-
like a bonding thing where I thought they were both enjoying the song. And
Yeah.
I thought, like, the song came on, and I thought that Doyle turned the volume up a little bit.
So they can both
and then
listen
Dutch
to it?
turned it up higher because, like, oh, yeah, we both like this.
No,
But
it
no,
was
it
because
wasn't that.
Doyle just wanted to be in silence.
Yeah.
But Dutch started it.
I mean, he is an instigator. He's trying to get some sort of a rise. He's trying to get some sort of interaction going with Doyle.
I get it, but don't.
It's like, you know, try to...
I think I'm in the side of the kid. But
in that specific instance, sure. Most of the
I
movie,
would
no.
be like beyond annoyed. Like I just want to sit in silence, and I know he's like angry and whatever.
Yeah.
But
most
they
of the time,
start this
I'm definitely on Dutch's side.
They start this whole back and forth with the window being down and then the volume being up thing and then Doyle turns it down and then puts the window up.
Yeah, because I think because he's smoking as well, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
So there's but it's just interesting to see, you know, again, not relying on words if you don't have to. Doyle runs out of the car, basically like, stop the car, let me out. And Dutch threatens to drive off because he's like throwing...
There was like even points where I haven't seen this movie in a really long time, but there was like points where I thought he would just open the door and like roll out.
Sure.
Like, oh, you're not gonna stop the car, then I'm just gonna roll myself out.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to cause himself physical pain. But at one point, yeah, he's like throwing dirt and snow clumps at the car, and Dutch is basically saying, you know, stop doing it. If you do it one more time, I'm gonna leave without you, and then you're gonna have to walk to the motel.
Right, and then he does it
15
again.
miles away or something like that.
Right.
I don't remember what it is, but it's a long distance. And he does it again, and yeah, he's left on the side of the road.
He's like, all right,
has
well,
to
I'm
walk.
leaving here, like what I just said, and then Doyle has to walk however many miles in the cold. At that point, too, there was like so many points where I was, as Doyle, I would just call someone and be like, I'm fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Someone
Look what
bring
this guy
me
just
home.
did to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm being somewhat abused here.
Yeah. There's a lot of stubbornness, and Dutch is relying on that stubbornness to get them all the way through, because he knows that he doesn't like his mother. He knows that Doyle doesn't want to talk to his mother or admit defeat. He wants to go see his dad, and the whole thing is like he thinks that everyone's lying about him being in London, and that, you know, he is actually going to be spending Thanksgiving with his dad. That's why he didn't use the plane ticket that his mom set up for him.
Right. He's like, no, I don't want to.
He just stayed at the boarding house because dad's going to come at some point. Just living in major denial about the whole situation.
Why? Okay, this is another thing I forgot. Why didn't the mom just go down too? Did she say?
I don't know. I don't remember anymore. But
I know there wouldn't be a movie, but did she give a reason? She was like, okay, I think it was because she was like, if I show up, he's not gonna want to go. So can you go instead?
I don't think she ever asks him. I think he just straight up offers and said, "Hey, I'll do this.
He's like,
it'll be a good opportunity for me to bond with him and whatnot."
Yeah. And she's like, okay. To a man that's never met this child.
Yeah. I will say that the lack of the mom in this movie is noticeable. You know, it would be nice to see a couple of like B-story moments,
like her wondering what's going on.
Yeah, you know, maybe have Dutch call on the sly once or twice and like give updates and stuff.
There was a couple of times where he's like, "Hey," like after they got off.
He says that he did, but we don't see it.
There was when they got off that bus, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to talk to your mom? She's on the phone."
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Doyle just walks on by past him and goes to the bathroom.
Right, but we don't see the conversation between them. Right? There's no shots of Jo Beth Williams in those.
No, there's
moments.
not a shot.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
oh,
the lack of actual character, or like, you know,
or show her like her side of like, hey,
Yeah.
how's it going? Like, I'm worried and blah de blah.
yeah, or just have her doing something else to prepare for the holidays, or you know, like maybe have her discover that Reed actually didn't go to London as well, because
yeah, but we don't really.
I'm just saying, like, you basically
until-
just have a couple of scenes of her at the very beginning and then her at the very end, and like the mom, who is like the central figure in Doyle's life, is almost completely absent from the movie. And it's noticeable.
I know. Okay, I know this movie's compared to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Which I have not seen all the way through, or if I have, it's been so long that I don't remember anything about it.
I mean, a lot of the stuff that happens in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, like like them losing their money, and then it's similar situations, like when Doyle takes Dutch's cigarette or cigar and like throws it in his crotch.
Yeah.
That happens in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but not in that way.
Sure.
It's kind of like when John Candy's like falling asleep and he's smoking, and all of a sudden like the car goes aflame or something. But it's like similar situations, whatever.
Okay.
And when they're on the bus and they're being confronted by like those two whatever guys, or Doyle is just being confronted by those two like scammer guys, like thugs.
Yeah, Doyle. I mean, yeah, Doyle's like, "Hey, can you turn the music down?" And they're like, "Sure, we can turn the music down.
But what are you gonna
give us your shoes?"
Yeah, give us your shoes. And then we see him not with his shoes on, but with their shoes on. So something happened.
Yeah.
And
Dutch just lets that happen. Like
Dutch just looks over his shoulder and kind of like smirks.
Yeah, they're not sitting together.
Yeah.
But yeah, he doesn't do anything about it. Again, it's sort of like, I'm going to teach you through the school.
Yeah, I'm going to teach you a lesson.
Yeah.
But
even
I
if
guess
that lesson
I'm
is
on
like,
Doyle's side. Like if
in that case,
I'm
like,
annoyed.
Yes. Like, this is a crime that was just committed against me.
Yeah.
This is not okay. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some scenes. Yes.
Okay.
I'm with you. There's some scenes.
Where I would want an adult to like step in and be like, "Hey, can you help me out here? These two adults are like coming after me."
Yeah.
And threatening me, and you're not gonna say anything.
You're not
like
gonna do anything
I
about
don't
it.
know. I would be angry as an already angry child.
Yeah, and so like there's that. There's also the I don't know when that took place. If that was before or after the motel. It must have been after the motel because of the.
Well, that's okay.
They don't have the car,
Yeah,
so.
So the whole thing where Dutch is like, if you're going to throw any more mud and whatever at the car, I'm going to leave. And Doyle does it. And he walks however many miles to that motel. And like in the middle of the night, he tries to take the car. And that's when he like drives forward more into the hotel and kind of like messes up the car. And he also like... He's trying to take the car, I guess, and then he almost gets in an accident with, like, a truck driver.
Yeah, I don't know if his intention is to steal the car to drive away.
That's what I thought
basically, like, Dutch
has been wanting to do.
Dutch is, like, you know, not fully clothed. He's ready for bed, and he tells Doyle to get his stuff out of the car, and so he tosses him the keys, and Doyle basically steals the car. And has a hard time driving because it's the snow and he doesn't know how to drive and probably can't reach the pedals very well. But I don't know if he was trying to escape or if he was honestly trying to put it
ruin the car,
a position to be crashed, because what ends up happening is the truck comes by and completely smashes and totals the car, and Dutch thinks that Doyle is still inside. You know.
Causing Dutch to be a little scared, like, where's Doyle?
Of course,
like, oh
yeah. Like, he's not concerned about the car. He's like, oh my god, this kid just died.
Yeah, like, that's scary. Like, yeah, he doesn't give a shit about the car, which is fine. Like, he's worried about Doyle.
Yeah,
but then when
of
he
the
finds...
two, then yes, that's what you want to be concerned about.
But when
first.
he finds Doyle, he's like, that truck driver was just trying to get to his family and yada yada.
Yeah, and that's
so
one of the...
made him super mad again.
That's one of the good real conversations that happens in this movie that I don't think a lot of movies do, where they show him talking to the police, they show him talking to the truck driver and saying, hey, if there's anything you need, like, here's my card, which may have been the first clue that he owned his construction company. You can't really see the card very clearly, but it has his name on there. But he comes to Doyle and he basically says, like, look, you almost killed someone else. Like, forget about what you did to my car. Right? Like, this is something where you put other people's lives in danger just to try to get back at me. Like, you cannot do that.
Yeah, these are good, like, adult conversations to tell a child.
Yes, and children are capable of some of these adult conversations. Like, they should be having these things.
Like, putting it in a not selfish perspective. Like, think about what you just did.
Yeah, think about other people. Think about how it'll impact...
Not just you.
...the world.
But I think Doyle just wanted to get... I don't know if he wanted to ruin the car because he was mad, or if he
just got out when it got stuck and...
Yeah.
He's like, okay.
I don't know if he was maliciously trying to ruin that car, or he was like, okay, Dutch is sleeping. Let me get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
I'm not sure either. Because what happens immediately after that real conversation is that Doyle's reaction is to want to fight. And so they have... this fist fight type of setup, and Dutch is like, okay, well,
he's
give
like,
me your best shot.
Yeah, I know karate.
Like, you're a little puny pipsqueak, give me your best shot, and he knocks him out cold, unconscious on the floor, with one punch. So Doyle does to Dutch. So it's weird. It kind of like negates the whole thing that just happened in a way. Like, he doesn't learn lessons. He's like, oh, I'm gonna punch you because you tried to tell me I should think about actions. It was kind of contradictory to me, but I'm glad that it was in the movie anyway. The whole movie is like a big battle of wits where one person is trying to one up the other person, and
right,
you see Dutch using like reverse psychology here and there and other different tactics, and Doyle is just trying to scheme like Kevin from Home Alone, but without the props. So I don't know. It's weird, but at some point, they have no car now, so they just got off the bus. They have no shoes, and so they're pretending to be extremely destitute, which they are at the moment, in essence. And then they get to hitch a ride in a hot rod with two young girls who take pity on them, who are on their way to Indiana, and get them part of the way there. So they meet up with Brock and Haley. And they go on a long car ride, which is when the wallet gets stolen, and some additional heart-to-heart stuff happens between Doyle and Brock.
Yeah.
So Brock is one of the girls. They're both call girls, we learn, as the conversation goes. And so, Doyle opens up about his history and his past relationship with his mom and dad.
Yeah, while Dutch is sleeping. Yeah, and then meanwhile, in the front seat, Haley's trying to steal Dutch's ring and also his wallet.
Yeah, gets the wallet, no problem, and I think Doyle sees it and doesn't say anything.
I don't know if
it's not 100% obvious, but it kind of... Some of the cuts make it seem like he knew that it was happening. He thought it was like a funny joke, in a sense. But he also didn't know that Dutch still had money in that wallet.
Right.
He was completely broke because they're, hard tough
they're
love.
like bussing it and whatever.
Yeah. Showing him what it means to be a common person. But yeah, it's a pretty funny scene of her trying to get the ring off of him, doing all kinds of different stuff while that Desire song is played by Yellow. And then tries to like use lotion to wiggle it loose and squirts the lotion into his mouth. And that's where the end of the whole...
I kind of feel like they broke because it seemed like they were both laughing.
I mean, it's a funny situation.
It is,
like it
but
makes sense for them to be laughing at what happened.
Showing E.G. Daily, she's just like I don't know if she was like broke out of character in laughing at that scene as herself or like as Haley or whatever, but it just seemed, I don't know, funny.
It could be, but I mean, it works.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. But yeah, they make a pit stop and tell them to go inside and get some supplies, and they leave. So there's absolutely nothing in their position now.
Yeah, they're in Hammond, Indiana at this point.
With no money at all.
With absolutely no money, and that's when...
And no car.
Yeah, that's when Doyle was like, I had $200 in that wallet or whatever.
Dutch did, yeah.
Or, oh yeah, Dutch.
But yeah, it's... That's when Doyle tries to call his dad.
Yeah, and that's when...
For help.
He like a woman just answers.
Yeah.
He finds out that
it's like, hey, can I talk to Mr. Standish?
He was told that his father was going to be out of town, so why would he call his dad if he knows his dad is supposedly going to be out of town?
Because he thinks everyone's lying to him.
Okay, so he's like, okay, let me call my dad, and then when a woman actually answers, and he's like, oh, your dad's asleep, that's what pisses him off.
Yeah, because then he realizes...
Oh, my dad's been home this entire time.
Yep, and he never tried to contact me, never came for me. Exactly. So, yeah, everyone else assumed he was in London because that's what Reed said he was. Mm-hmm. But he lied to everyone. And
he was just at home with...
Just sleeping around.
A girlfriend or whatever.
Anyway, they're able to hitchhike again.
Before they got picked up by the two call girls / sex workers, that part where Dutch is teaching Doyle to act like pathetic, that was a funny scene.
Yeah.
Like try, he's like try look like a puppy dog, and he's like doing the, or I don't. That whole scene was making me laugh. I mean, there are scenes where, I'm cracking up.
I mean, there's
and I'm just thinking, like, they had a good time doing that. I don't know.
And then it kind of comes into the next part, because after they hitchhike, they basically, like, hitch a ride inside some truck that's carrying some major cement stuff.
Like,
and so they're like...
they were just dirty.
Yeah, so, and then they end up in some weird parking lot that's with a guard, and they weren't supposed to be there. I don't think the truck driver knew that they were there. They just
they literally just like climbed in to get up, and then they might have fell asleep, and then they wake up and they're now in some random parking lot.
Yeah, and so the security guards are like trying to cause trouble, and so he gets to act again, and basically as they're getting kicked out, Doyle, pulls out the karate moves and the BB gun, and he acts like
he killed someone.
He's crazed, and he's like actually this criminal mastermind,
like a child killer. And Dutch is just like, you don't want to make him angry.
Yeah.
And I mean, that scene is whatever. That's very Home Alone-ish.
Yeah.
With like these two like bumbling security guards, like, oh, I'm scared of this 12-year-old. And
then they get beat up by like the cartoony violence.
Yeah.
This movie is sort of like half cartoon at times. It's again a really weird mix of everything.
Yeah.
But it still works to me. I don't know. And then they end up in the homeless shelter because they're just trying to go into a restaurant and get cleaned up, and then this couple sees them and is like, oh, well, let me take you to the shelter, and then they meet the family in the shelter and again have a good bonding experience, and we finally make it back home. And Reed is there.
Yeah,
because he realized when
the woman answered the phone and said some kid called.
The kid.
The kid is his son.
Yeah, the kid learned things, so I'm going to kind of head things off at the pass and go to the mom's house.
Yeah.
So I'll be there when he arrives.
This scene reminded me of the ending scene in All I Want for Christmas.
Yeah.
When all the family members were, like, arriving randomly at the same time on Christmas Day, but instead this is Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's not as many people, so
it was just Reed coming over, and then the mom was there with her. I don't even like her maid.
Yeah,
cook,
some cook type of person.
Assistant.
Listed as Gritzy in the
but exactly the cast, like the person that's in All I Want for Christmas, like the woman who was like an everything person, just did everything in the house.
So, and she just has a few funny cutaway shots where we get to see her reaction instead of any of the family members' reactions to the things.
Yeah, mostly her. Yeah, making faces.
Yes.
And then the confrontation when Doyle and Dutch do get to the door and Doyle sees his dad at his mom's house, or their house.
It's the mom's house.
The mom's house, but it was probably
it's the mom's
their
house.
It's
going to be taken away from them.
Well, it was probably like their house when they were all together as a family before they got divorced. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. All I know is
and
that
then Reed was like, "Oh, you can keep the house," or whatever. Well, until whatever. I don't know.
I mean, at the very end, right? Like, after everything goes down, Reed is basically saying, "Okay, you have like a couple days to get out of this house now." And then that's when the confrontation between him and Dutch happens, and he extends it to like 6 months.
Right.
So they're going to be there for 6 more months, and that's it. But anyway, Dutch is there, Doyle is there, and Doyle like basically goes past the dad and like is now on mom's side.
Right. He sees his mom. Well, he doesn't even acknowledge. Well, he sees his dad and he's like pissed, and then he sees his mom and he just goes up to her and they hug. And his mom is just really relieved about that. And then they have a confrontation. That's when the confrontation between Dutch and Reed happens. But then Gritzy, the whoever, maid / cook / housekeeper, just has the coat for Reed ready for him. Mm-hmm. They're just like, okay, now leave. And then you see her with this happy face holding a coat. Just like, here you go, and pushes him out.
Yeah. He tries to use his money and power as a gambling chip again here. And, Dutch just doesn't have anything to do with it and actually, like, pops him on the top of the head with his ring and like, leaves an indentation from the punch. And he's all,
Yeah, he's like disheveled from that.
And basically says, okay, you guys have 6 months to get out of this house, and blah, blah,
and
blah,
he
blah,
just
blah.
like fucks off into the day. But then they show the Thanksgiving dinner of just the mom, Dutch, Doyle, and Gritzy. Is she there?
I think so.
Sorta.
To a degree. I mean, she brings out the food. I don't
know.
But
I'm like,
they don't show the actual like eating part too much.
No.
Because Dutch says, "Hey Doyle, go get this thing from the other room. I have something for your mom."
And they're like, now? Like, we just sat down. And then he's like, okay. But then he realizes,
like it's set up to be like a sweet moment where you think,
like he's gonna propose to his mom.
Gonna go get this ring so I can propose to your mom.
And he's like, okay. But then midway he realizes, I'm being set up. And then he turns around and sees Dutch with the BB gun. And he gets shot.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah. So.
And then it's that horn music and that music. I don't know, that wacky whatever.
The racy playing card music plays it.
Which I don't care for.
I really wish that the moment when Doyle and the mom reunite at the end would have been more impactful. I feel like it's almost glossed over.
Yeah, like, you don't really see their relationship. Like, why do they love each other?
Wait, what?
Dutch and the mom.
No, Doyle.
Oh, Doyle and the mom?
Like, when he chooses the mom, like, like when he bypasses Reed and goes to the mom, Like that's
that's like a
supposed to be
small
like
heart to heart.
the key moment, and it's kind of glossed over in my mind. I feel like they've paid more attention to like Reed's reaction and Dutch's reaction to the whole thing, rather
Doyle
than like letting it soak in. Like, hey, yeah, they're finally bonding.
I think Doyle realized he missed his mom is when he was bonding with the homeless family.
I know, but like
show more of that.
Yeah, like show, I don't know, linger on the moment between mother and son.
All right. I was just I wanted to know more about like how Dutch and Natalie got together. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like their relationship, but whatever.
Yeah, we don't really know because we don't get to know a lot about Natalie. Other than she's trying her best to be happy and she doesn't care about money, so like that's good. But overall, I mean, I think the movie was very effective in what it tried to do. There's obviously some weird parts in there, like some of the criminal aspects of their relationships and interactions, but whatever. It's a comedy, right? So we'll talk about the cast and crew. We got Peter Faiman as the director. He's known for the Crocodile Dundee movie. He's an Australian director. This is really his only American effort, since this was a huge box office bomb, surprisingly enough. I thought it was more popular than others, but no, this was like 123rd on the box office list. For comparison, the other John Hughes movies that we've released in 1991, Career Opportunities was 88 and Curly Sue was number 40. This had a budget of $17 million and grossed only about 4.6. Huge flop. But Peter Faiman also did things like The Paul Hogan Show and The Don Lane Show in Australia for 700 episodes. John Hughes, we've talked about him already, but we'll see him again with Curly Sue next week. Ed O'Neill as Dutch Dooley, 3-time Emmy nomination for Modern Family, 2-time Golden Globe nominee for Married with Children. No crossover there at all. He's also been in things like Finding Dory and Wreck-It Ralph more recently. He did the Dragnet TV show with Ethan Embry, who also was in that at some point, I believe. He's had bit parts in Wayne's World. He was in Little Giants. And he also had a 1991 movie, The Whereabouts of Jenny. Small little piece of trivia that people probably know, but maybe some don't. He was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers as an NFL player, but he was cut in training camp and never made an actual NFL roster. Ethan Embry credited as Ethan Randall in this. We've seen him before in the All I Want for Christmas. We'll see him again in Defending Your Life. And also he's in the 1991 movie Bad Attitudes. He's been in things like Empire Records, Can't Hardly Wait, Vegas Vacation, and Grace and Frankie. We talked about him before. Jo Beth Williams is Natalie Standish, Oscar nominated for directing a short film called On Hope, which starred Mercedes Ruehl. Golden Globe and Emmy nominated for Baby M, Emmy nominated for Adam, and a guest spot on Frasier. 1991 movies that she's also in are Victim of Love and Switch. She's been in things like Kramer vs. Kramer, Stir Crazy, Poltergeist 1 and 2, and The Big Chill. Christopher McDonald, who we've seen before, he played Reed Standish, always the villain. We saw him as the villain in Wild Orchid 2. We'll see him again in Thelma and Louise. He's also in Red Wing, Fatal Exposure. Emmy nomination for Hacks, Quiz Show. Not Emmy nominated for Quiz Show, but he's been in things like Quiz Show, Happy Gilmore, Requiem for a Dream, Family Law, and Harry's Law. Where, I mean, he pretty much always just plays the bad guy dick.
Oh, yeah, he's good at it.
He's good at it, yeah. Brock was played by Ari Myers. She was a 3-time Young Artist nominee for Kate and Allie. She was one of the kids in Kate and Allie. She also had a recurring role in the animated show Stanley, which is a kids show from the early 2000s. She was in How to Make an American Quilt, and she's left the acting industry and now works as a postpartum nurse and a lactation consultant. L. Scott Caldwell was the homeless woman. She has been in quite a lot of stuff. She was in the 1991 movies Up Against the Wall and Baby of the Bride. She's been in things like Fugitive, Judging Amy, Lost, where she played Rose Nadler, Secret Life of the American Teenager, Mercy Street, How to Get Away with Murder, and she's also a Tony winner from the 1988 play Come and Gone, where she won Best Actress. Lastly, I want to mention Elizabeth Daly, who is credited as E.G. Daly. She's in the 1991 movie Dogfight. People probably know her pretty well for Pee-wee's Big Adventure, where she plays Dottie. She was also in things like Valley Girl, but also very well known for her voice acting career. She was in things like the Problem Child TV show. She was Babe the Pig. She's Buttercup on the Powerpuff Girls, and also Tommy Pickles in Rugrats. So, in terms of awards, the only thing that we have is the Young Artist Awards, where Ethan Embry won for Best Male, Child Performance, and the movie itself was nominated for the Best Family Motion Picture Comedy, but lost to What About Bob? So we can move on to true crime and pop culture.
Okay, so I'm just gonna talk about E.G. Daily, her musical career. I'm gonna try and do it in chronological order because she's still I was like,
still
where?
Going, huh?
Yeah, sort of. She started to collaborate with some of Madonna's producers. I've mentioned this before. This person, John Jellybean Benitez. I've mentioned his name. She started to work with him. And in the early 80s, she had a couple songs that were on the soundtrack for Scarface. They were called Shake It Up and I'm Hot Tonight. I have so many music videos of hers.
We'll add a couple.
Maybe, but
we'll let you go through the rabbit hole if you want to.
But the song Shake It Up, there is a video. It's a Soul Train video. So it's not truly her music video, but it was like an episode of Soul Train where they play her song Shake It Up. And halfway through that YouTube video, Rosie Perez is dancing to it. Okay. So I'll put that on the website because I thought that was cool to see Rosie Perez dancing to an E.G. Daily song.
Night on Earth star Rosie Perez.
Yeah. And then she did a lot of soundtracks. Then she went on to do the music she did one song for the Breakfast Club. That song is called Waiting. And she is maybe known for Better Off Dead. I kind of remember her in this. She was the singer. There's like a point in the movie where they go to like a party. She's on stage singing, and one of that songs, the one she's singing on stage is called One Way Love, but she did another song that's also on the Better Off Dead soundtrack called A Little Luck. Okay. She only had one song that went onto the Billboard Hot 100, and that song is what she did. It's like an art. Her genres are all across the board. She does like dance, pop, rock, and then I think most recently like country. Okay. So the only song that went to the Billboard Hot 100 of hers was a 1986 song. It was like an R&B rock single called Say It, Say It. That was number 70 in 1986. And then it was a number 1 hot dance music club party song for that year in 1986. Her songs in Scarface, Shake It Up and I'm Hot Tonight, they were both in the video game Grand Theft Auto 3. And they were also included in the Scarface The World Is Yours video game.
Okay, that makes sense.
She did another song, Love in the Shadows, and this was for a movie called Thief of Hearts that came out in 1984. That was an erotic thriller. Right. I've never heard of that song.
I've never heard of that one either.
She also did the song for the movie in Summer School. Did you ever watch Summer School?
Yeah, in college I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay, because
I don't remember the songs.
She did this song called Mind Over Matter, and I like the video. I think I will show that video because it's like, it's one of the rare times where it's like, like in the 80s, it was just like her interacting with the cast of the movie.
Yeah, I miss those types of things.
Like, like Cyndi Lauper and, with the Goonies.
Yeah.
Like, this was the same thing with Summer School. And I was like, I like that video, and I miss videos like that. But in that video, she plays the guitar, harmonica, keyboards, percussion. So she's like a quintuple threat. I don't even know.
A Jill of all trades.
She knows how to do everything.
She can act, sing, voice act, and play a bunch of instruments.
She's had 4 albums, and in 1989, and then 1999, and then she did one in 2008. But none of them really charted except for that one song that I said previously. And in 2003, she did a song called Changing Faces, which was in the end credits of the Rugrats Go Wild movie. I didn't see that one.
No, but it's not a surprise that she was able to negotiate getting a song into that movie, since she was the star.
Yeah, she's the star. And this blew my mind. She did the voiceover of the 2.5 Men song. You know,
oh, okay.
She did the theme song. You know, the high parts that the little kid sings. That was her voice.
Oh.
I mean, I feel like she's making money in residuals. She's doing well.
She's had a nice prolific
and run. Then I never watched this show, but I also learnt this morning. In 2013, she was a contestant on The Voice, their 5th season. That's what I was spending so much time looking up.
Okay. That's so weird, like, because she's clearly had recording contracts. I thought The Voice was, like, for pure amateurs.
That's what I thought.
I've never seen The Voice.
Me neither. That's why I'm I don't know the rules. Like, but there is a YouTube video of her, like, the first, I know the premise, sort of, like, they go in blind, and then you sing a song, and then the 4 coaches turn around if they want to coach you, whatever.
Yeah.
So that part where we'll put that on the website, because there is, like, her like promo video for going on The Voice. Like, she's like, I've been an actress, and I had a singing career in the 80s and early 90s, and I kind of stopped because I became a mom, and I focused on being a mom, but singing has always been a love of mine, and I want to be a singer again. Mm-hmm. That was, like, her story. So she goes on and she sings the song Breathe from Faith Hill. 2 judges turn around, and it's Blake Shelton and CeeLo, and she chooses to be on Blake's team. She did not win that season. She lost in the knockout rounds. I don't even know what that means. Sure. I'm assuming at the very end, like, she went far, but she didn't win. And she lost to a performance of Bonnie Raitt's I Can't Make You Love Me. But there is also in that promo, when all 4 of the judges turn around, they're like, hey, don't we know you? Aren't you an actress or something?
Yeah. And
she was like, have you seen Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure? I'm Dottie. And they're like, oh, like, everyone's minds are blowing.
Sure.
And that's when, like, Christina Aguilera is now pushing her button, even though it was, like, after the fact. Yeah. So then I was like, well, what happened after that? But I just looked her up. She does, like, TikTok videos, and she's really, like, I follow her on Instagram now. I just found her Instagram, and she does, like, videos with her daughters, and it's cute, and she still does sing, but I guess she just hasn't come out with any singles or albums.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like she really needs to.
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, there's definitely people who do things they don't need to, but yeah. Well, best of luck to her. I know that one thing you didn't mention that I saw in the IMDb credits is that she was the musical guest of a 1986 SNL episode.
Oh, okay.
With Level 42 was also a musical guest that same episode. So, like, at the height of her career, she got to be on SNL.
Yeah, in the 80s. Yeah,
at the low part of SNL.
Oh, in that like 1985.
It was 86. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because then
Jimmy Breslin and Marvin Hagler were the hosts.
I don't even know who these people are. Yeah, because I mean, it was just seemed as if she was gonna be like the next Madonna, maybe, because all of her videos in the 80s are very like as if they wanted to do
like slightly sensual or something.
Yeah, like she has like that signature like haircut where it's like wild long blonde hair, like, you know, with layers and whatever, and she has like very thick eyeliner. She still does that to this day, and that's like what she's known for. I don't know, but yeah, in the beginning it just seemed as if she was trying to be like sensual.
Yeah,
but I mean, and then she kind of just grew into doing like the Rugrats movie song and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, she's had a nice long career at least, so
yeah,
and still very much capable of keeping it going. So with that, we'll move on to rankings and ratings.
Yeah.
Okay. On your 1 to 5 star scale, where are you going to put Dutch?
I was going back and forth.
Okay.
I like this movie more than Career Opportunities.
Me too.
But I think I'm going to give this a 3. 'Cause it's on... I like it as much as, like, All I Want for Christmas. They're both, like, you know, lighthearted.
Yeah, different, way different vibes.
Good feeling family movies.
Yeah. On my 0 to 4 star scale, I'm also going to give it a 3. I was surprised at how much I liked this movie.
And I'm surprised that it didn't do well, but I think mainly because people compare it to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and everyone's like, why is this, like, why are they making this again or something?
Yeah, I don't really know what... I mean, it was like the middle of summer where you had, you know, Point Break. I mean, obviously different audiences to a degree. But you also had like T2, just mania took over everything.
Right. It's just like it came out in a really weird time. Like if this came out
this is a Thanksgiving movie that came out mid-July.
Yeah. And I don't know why, but who knows with like distribution and whatever the hell. I have no idea.
So maybe it just was bad
like
timing.
It was just under the radar, and because he had like Career Opportunities, and I know like we're gonna watch Curly Sue next week, so we can just. But I think Curly Sue, that's like another. I don't know. Is that another holiday-ish movie?
I haven't seen it, so I'll.
It's like a winter movie, I think.
Oh, okay. I mean, all I know about Curly Sue is the cover. Whereas, like, Dutch, I recognize some of the scenes from watching commercials and trailers, like Ed O'Neill's slipping and falling on the ice, and, you know, him doubling over in pain from getting punched, and, like, all these physical comedy things that they throw on the trailer. I remember that. I don't know anything about Career Opportunities or Curly Sue before I watched them, so I was surprised to see it so low. But anyway, every movie's worth watching once. Would you watch this again?
Yeah.
I would, too. I don't think it's like a yearly holiday classic or anything like that.
I mean, I'm surprised it isn't, because, like, you know how they play the Christmas movie over and over and over again during Christmas time?
But I don't think there's enough holiday imagery for that to be the case. There's like a couple scenes in snow.
Alright, because, I mean, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, it's the same thing. They're trying to get to their families for Thanksgiving.
Maybe that's a big reason why. It's like everyone just thought it was way too derivative of that. And so they're like, we've seen this already. Here's a better version of it.
Which already happened because you had better actors. Like, you had John Candy and, like, Steve Martin, who are
better
already...
actor
like,
is relative, but yeah, I mean...
Well,
these are great performances in this movie.
Right, yeah. I'm just saying, like, well-known, already established actors that people already know and love, I guess.
Yep.
But they can play that. They can do, like, a... Because I know
John Hughes back-to-back.
Yeah, back-to-back, whatever on TNT or TBS. Because I know last year for Thanksgiving, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is on like 24/7 because I watched that movie 3 times in a row last year with my family. So I know Planes, Trains, and Automobiles like by heart again. But I'm like, they can play, they can switch off. They can do Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and then Dutch, then back to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, short answer, yes, we would both watch this again. If you out there want to watch Dutch, as of this recording in November 2022, it's available on VHS or DVD only. No digital rental, no streaming at all. But that can change, so check your local listings. As for us, you can listen to us on all of your major podcasting platforms. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends. You can email us at 1991movierewind@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, YouTube. Just search 1991 Movie Rewind. Or go to 1991movierewind.com for the full list of movies along with show notes and more. Next week, like we've said a couple times, we're going to be watching the last John Hughes 1991 written movie, Curly Sue. That's available as a digital rental, VHS or DVD. We will see you